My name is Chris Anderson. I'm the project manager for this project, Anoka Tech College Document Management, or Content Management to be more accurate, system. And this is the team. We have Alan.
I'm Alan Fagberg. I was the networker.
Jerry Kelsey, I did work on the slideshow and sound development.
Kaylin, I did ISA stuff and network.
Tenzin.
Newsfeed. Sorry.
Tenzin. I did the worked on county events and so forth.
And I'm Heather, and I worked on the survey and the web design part.
I didn't do that.
Okay. The problem statement is the faculty and staff need a better way of managing documents. Problem being that there are multiple versions of documents throughout the faculty and campus, as well as just documents out there in various places, which is redundant. So you create and implement a way of document management, as well as other ways of gathering and displaying information relevant to the faculty. So the goals we have: a document management program that fits the current and future needs of the campus and staff. Develop the program access pages for staff to access documents with the rights controlled through Active Directory. Training documents on managing, updating, and editing program control pages, and those are installed in each department's subsite. Numerous objectives: configure Sharepoint on a network server, setting up virtual machines. We had to take a server guy here full time. Design page solutions, test solutions, figure out how to use the document management system as it's set up in SharePoint. Use simple documents just to test things, and present the showcase for. We were requested to present a showcase for the Anoka, the Information Technology Management Department, to showcase what it could do, and it was decided that we would build the whole skeleton for the campus, but focus on the main page for the welcome page for the whole site, and then the sub-site of information technology management to do a more full job. We had zero budget. ATC has SharePoint. That's why we went with SharePoint. They have the servers. It was decided if initially we were going to try to
Use Azure, but we could not replicate the ATC environment in a way that would make it realistic for deployment. So I'm Alan. Like I said, I took care of the networking options for this plan, for this project. So to replicate the environment, we wanted something that would look just like ATC's in the way it works right now. So we had to get an Active Directory server. We needed that to authenticate all the users for the SharePoint, as well as the logins, which meant we needed some virtual machines for those logins. We needed a really time-efficient deployment. Getting this up and running was crucial for making the software team successful. Option needed to be provided for remote access, so they didn't always have to be on site to work on this project, as well as stability of the network and really efficient replication and deployment, a backup that could be redeployed if something critical were to happen. So how are these results produced? Virtualization. It's the only way we'd be able to replicate all of those required products And, you know, so that's what we ended up using was virtualization so that we could show that ATC type of environment. So how did we design the network? What we got here is over in this section here is actually just like you'd be sitting in the ATC computer lab. We have our remote machines. Those are Windows 8 machines, just like you sat down at the desk down there. Then you go ahead and log in, and the user credentials get authenticated through AD, which then gives the permissions to the Sharepoint server. Whether that be guests 1, 2, or 3, who have either only read, maybe they can post but not edit, you know, depending on the department, etc. So that's all managed by our ESXi that's sitting on the physical server. So what we have over here is the VPN, their remote access solution. They log in from their computer at home through Cisco AnyConnect, which was our VPN option. They go into the IT network, which is here, and now they're able to log right on to those virtual machines and be authenticated by AD. So what were some of the networking issues? I would say the main ones were the planning. Like we said, we originally started with Azure, which was never, you know, we never asked the question. We just assumed let's get SharePoint up and running. Well, if this was meant for Anoka Tech, that's not a viable option. So that took a week of my time. On top of older versions of software, deploying those Windows machines, the software was so old when I hit go, there were 280 updates. Furthermore, I deployed them all at the same time. So with 3 machines making that many updates, it absolutely sucked out the resources I had available to me. And we're talking 5 to 6 days of updates. Well, 4 to 5. It was brutal. To open that up every time and see it still updating was discouraging. So, what were the results? It was successful. We were able to replicate the Anoka Tech site. We were able to deploy all the needed software. I'm not going to say it was easy, but we were able to do it. We were able to make those different users with different credentials and logons, as well as provide one secure backup. So, what's yet to be accomplished? I never got a daily backup deployed of the actual website. Pretty disappointing. There are options such as PowerShell scripts. There's options, it looks like in SQL Server. I did not have the chance to do that. Furthermore, we only had a free version of the backup software, and it didn't want to do continuous for us, plus we ran out of space. We were looking for space on servers. That's kind of what we ran into. So now we will go into the demo.
Okay.
Oh, did I get it up for you, Chris? I'm sorry.
Yeah, you just don't have the sub bar on the bottom, I don't see. So,
How's that?
Just need to maximize it.
What's up? Oh, I should have, okay. Oh, that's a different one. Let's mimic. I apologize. Oh, I'm back. And why is it not? I apologize. This shouldn't
It's
be an
technology.
issue.
Live technology.
Live technology, yes. We should all be used to this.
Why did I mess it with my phone?
It could happen to Steve Jobs. It could happen.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, that's always in the back of my mind.
Sorry, Chris, it's up there. You might just turn it on in a second.
Oh, is it really raining out?
Oh, sounds like a thunderstorm.
Jeez.
It's amazing. Let's go.
wait,
The light is raining.
Maybe.
supposed to.
Well, trust me, we never had this issue before.
Saver.
Hmm?
The screensaver, if you have something, look at something.
Are you kidding me? Here, I know what it is. Give me a second.
Okay.
It's all good.
Are you?
So, again, initially our project was to create for the information technology department what SharePoint can do. And I felt it best, and it was agreed upon, that we should build like a skeleton for the other departments and add what functionality is there, so they at least have something to start with. And that includes a library of how-to documents. As we figure out how to do things, you create a document that said that this is how you add a page, this is how you add an application.
So what I'm having a problem with, folks, is for some reason my screen will not maximize, and it's never done that
Oh,
before.
but it was.
I know.
That looks fairly good there.
It's not on here,
It's-
so.
There we
Oh, it's
go.
not on there.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Now let's do. Oh. And every time I hit it, it flips.
Oh, we can live with
Here, I
that.
know. Last thing. We'll go there only. And
That's great. Excellent.
Yeah.
Chris will have to turn this way to use the mouse. I apologize, it's second screen only.
What? How do you?
Here. Let's use refresh. All right.
All right.
You can still hear it.
Okay, so home,
You still can maximize it though, can't you? Or is
Oh,
it-
that is
that's it?
maximized, yeah.
Oh, okay.
is it?
You could just drag it out.
Yeah, drag it out. Drag it out.
Because we were getting full.
Yeah.
It's because we're logged in through the virtual machine. The virtual machine won't go any bigger.
It
The
won't.
Windows
Okay.
8 virtual
All right.
machine.
That's
So
okay.
here's the slideshow.
For the slideshow, we decided to go with kind of the ATC theme. What you can see, we're using the pictures from the website. I think they've updated it a little bit since then, but that's the general idea we went with, and this is on the home page right now. So.
And he'll cover that
That
more
was
after the demo.
first.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the home site here. And then our information technology management. Come over here, we have our news feed. And then our site admin training documents. Forgive the lag, there's the VPN to a, so adding a page to SharePoint, creating a page, the directions to making the calendar set up, how to add a site feed, that sort of thing. And then this is going to be available to all departments. It's the same library, it's linked to them all.
Still loading.
And this is the same thing that we deal with when developing here, so that's just part of the fun. And then initially, when we initially started doing this, we were trying to make like a different page for each class type. And it was decided that that probably wasn't the best way to go when we had our second meeting about halfway through with the stakeholders. So then we decided, or went with a different library here that has the syllabus and stuff, the information for each one, so that they can be updated by a staff member. And it's all in one library. We only did this for the one department. And look, it's checked out to me. And then when you check it in, you can add comments. Good times. This is because we're on an admin right now. So right now, you have these features up here that an admin could have. Allows us to add a page, edit a page, add an application, do the site contents, site settings. So that gives us a lot of options that the average user is not going to have. To, you know, affect navigation and title, how the pages are titled, etc.
And then I was in charge of the survey, so I can pick the survey. And we weren't exactly only out of all the people, we were only allowed to take it once. So is it, are you logged into?
Yes, she's logged in.
Okay.
None of this
Which machine are you on? We gotta go to 97.
So for each survey, you're only allowed to, only a person's only allowed to take it
One
once.
time.
That makes sense.
So
Otherwise, I'd get everything I wanted.
So, and then here's, you'll just click respond to this survey. And then here's a list of all the questions. I'll just click on them here. And then like there's different ones, there's like different ways you can answer the survey. There's radio buttons, single line, yes or no, multiple line, and then just basic text boxes. So you don't have to, so when you're done, just click finish. And then, so this is now the third response to the survey, and to show, you can either show the graphical summary, which is all of them, or you can do the all responses. So,
I'm sure the graphic summary doesn't include text fields that you enter, that a lot of people enter, so that's better for radio button type thing.
yeah, and yeah, if you just wanted to, just the graphical. And there's all that, if that makes sense. And then we'll show all responses. And then this is from Chris, this is from me, and then this is from Kaylin, which is just from Mel, so.
So would everybody see that or just the admin?
That would be just the admin
Just
that should see that.
We had 3 different users. I had 3 guest accounts, one with only read access, one that could check out, read, and add new documents, and then the final one, then the final guest, they can make changes to documents and check them back in, but only the administrators are allowed to change the site.
And then
So
also,
the six user accounts, so we have 9 altogether, 6 user accounts, all had permission to change the site.
and then also if you wanted to edit the survey, you just go under settings. You can add questions here. Or you can, in the survey settings, you can either delete, update, or change the order, or change the type of which kind.
So it's pretty simple, yeah, just add the question and
And then type your answer there, and then choose which type of response you want.
Want it back to the PowerPoint?
A notification every time that person posts something. So like if you wanted to, you know, collaborate with a coworker, it would show you what they're thinking. And then your profiles here. And you can edit your profile. Obviously, we didn't set these up because they're not staying, because we're not gonna be faculty. But you can add different kinds of stuff. You can add, you know, your picture, and then in the news feed, you can add. And I'll kind of touch on that later. documents or events that you want to follow as well, so stuff that's important to you.
Alright, so. Worked on the calendar, the event section right here. For each classes, each majors, I did a separate calendar, so that way they won't have exact same calendar events, because people in the department might not be looking at IT calendar. So, but it's very simple, user friendly. To add events, you will see an add button right here. I just saw it right now. Just click. There you go. It's an add button, and like I said, you just type in your events and time and so forth, and so just like that. So, and same thing with IT. So yeah, when you put IT, would not show up on the other department event, and also it's in the application. So I didn't have to code the calendar, so it was already pre-installed. But at the same time, it was hard for me to adjust to based on the template of the page because of other people that adding other stuff on the event. So that's why.
Okay.
So,
Now it's,
PowerPoint's right at the bottom.
yeah. We wanted to go here too. All right, so this is the, most of everything you can need to do for the average site administrator being somebody in a department. Each department would probably have one person who administers that one department. And then you'd have one person who's like over everything, has to know, and this is what that person would spend most of their time probably is looking at this, whereas the other ones are doing all their development in the site itself. Because this allows you to deal with group rights and making.
So yeah, if you hit on that the visitors one, Chris, just real quick, it'll just show them that one only has read rights. You look
Right.
there. I mean, so we were able to change the permissions that were all authenticated through Active Directory.
So this is where, yeah, this is where you would control people's read and writes for individual pages as you do so. So the training documents would only be visible to the administrator for any given department, and not for the average user in that department. And similarly, they could have other pages where they only have access to it, and they could store some information on.
Could I see other departments? Can I see accounting's pages, read them only? Would I
Yeah,
have
if you-
access to that?
Yeah, you would
If
have
given.
read access to pretty much everything in other departments except something that was excluded from you, unless you are the campus administrator.
Or human resources documents, they can definitely be locked,
Yeah.
where no one
You
else
can all
has access.
see.
Right, this is what I'm saying, that each department would have a reason to have something that can only be visible to that department, and that would have to be set up.
But you can get that detailed on how it's set up.
That would be set up on the screen here. Furthermore, master pages, one of the learning curve things is I learned, if you're gonna make any adjustments at all, create a unique master page. Custom master page that's different from the rest, so I named it ATC. And you never edit the master page, you can only edit the HTML, and then it populates the master page. So. I did something that I thought would work, and it wound up breaking it.
Okay. That's always good.
So this is why it's important to only have one person messing with this, okay? Huh?
It was awful. When it
It's scary, isn't it?
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
They get just a bunch of tiny little icons.
But knowing what I did to break it, I could easily unbreak it.
Yeah.
When we got the.
Back up, back up, back up.
Yeah, there is versioning on these too, so that is one thing to keep in mind.
Yeah, when we got the notification, I looked at him and I'm like,
What'd you
just
do?
messed up our whole project,
Yeah.
but we were able to get it back.
So you got a
on
virgin
track,
history
so-
right here, you can go back down.
That's awesome.
You know, and you can see even doing it over the course of a day, you can rack up quite a few.
Yeah.
Going back to this. In here, we can edit a page. Wait for it, wait for it. I can barely see it from here. Web part, minimize. There's one aspect where it allows you to actually like edit the snippet. You know, edit the stuff that's just in here. Right here.
It's got a little drop down there, check box.
Oh. So these are admin features in here that allow you to go in and look at stuff and make changes. And if you add anything, code writing, for instance, the slideshow was written totally outside of this and added, and tweaks need to be made to, so that's how that would be done. But again, it would be done by an admin person versus, administrative rights versus the actual department. Just to get out of there. Anybody else have a comment in here? Huh?
So right back down there. You go ahead and hit slideshow, it'll fire up for you.
Where's-
Yep, and just on the far left is, yep.
From current slide.
You go.
Huh?
Keep going.
Right after demo. There we go.
All right.
All right, so I'm going to talk about the slideshow a little bit because I was the one that did all of it. We had two options going into this. We had the web part option, which is a feature that was built into Sharepoint. It's really easy to use, has a lot of really cool drag and drop features, which was really nice. And then the other one is JavaScript, and the reason we chose that one is because we learned it here as students, and it was something we had experience with, so we chose those as two options right off the bat. Web part pros for it is that it had easy drag and drop features. It has an image library that you can do in Sharepoint. And then when you go to the actual website, you can just, like I said, drag and drop right on the website, and it'll add them, automatically update the slideshow as you go. So it's a really nice feature. It has pause, play, next, back button, so if a slide goes and you want to go back, you can do that. And cons of it would be the fade in and fade out time. I'd actually talked with one of the instructors here about that, and it was about 5 or 6 seconds, and then it would only display the image for about 2 seconds, so we didn't really like that idea. So we went with JavaScript later, but the other con we had with this was that it was really small and we couldn't center it, so it's kind of a little box off to the side there. We didn't really like that. Searching online, I found that Sharepoint, I think it was 10, I believe, earlier version actually seemed to have options for this, but I couldn't find them in our version, which was kind of odd to me. And then cons for pros for JavaScript would be the pictures kept their size. So we use the ATC pictures from the website, and they all kept their size, as you could see in the demo. They're real big, and it was nice because we wanted it to fill a larger area, so it actually looks like the slideshow. So for me, a challenge was just actually learning and working with SharePoint. As I said, it was new to us, and with that came a lot of problems that arise with the slideshow and trying to implement things and figuring out web parts, and it was just kind of a lot to take in right away. So that was a big challenge for me, I think.
I agree with the learning SharePoint and then how to use the newsfeed and all of its capabilities.
Yeah, I'd say when it comes to learning SharePoint, learn it before you use it. Like I had when it came to the survey, we all thought we had to like create a survey and then put it on the page, and I hand coded it, and it took a really long time to do. And I used HTML and JavaScript, all hand coded and everything. But little did we know, when we actually got on to Sharepoint, we found out that there was actually a thing where you could make a survey on there.
A
And it-
plug-in?
Plug-in, yeah.
A plugin, yeah, and there was already a back-end database, so I kind of wasted a lot of time there just trying to make one hand coding. But it's a lesson learned, so, but yeah, you'll find out, yeah, there's like a plugin here, you can just take one from here and make another one, and then, yeah, it basically will put it together, so.
For me, the challenging was because the calendar event takes a huge space on the template, and also you got other people in the group that works on the other parts on the pages. So when they make a change, it changes like sometimes the whole look of the calendar. So for me, the constant change of the site also impacts the calendar, how it shows. So and like she said, for me it was the opposite. I actually figured out the calendar way before I did the HTML. So I kind of looked around. I was like, oh, there's actually a button for calendar, so I have to code my own calendar. But that was also, it has pros and cons to that. And the challenge was that fact I cannot make the calendar smaller unless I change the template look. But if I change the template, it then changes the whole page look. So that was really challenging for me.
Suggestions for the next group? It'd be nice if they had a knowledgeable person who knew about SharePoint to consult, which we did not have. I had one person in my work that I sent an email to, and the response back I got was 80% of everything you can do, you need to do, can be done in SharePoint. And you shouldn't do anything outside of that unless you really hate who you're going to turn it over to. So yeah, it was one of those things where it's like, don't fight SharePoint, try to work within what it's set up to do. I think is one of the biggest bits of information we learned, and it'd be nice to have somebody advise the next group that works on it to not fight the system so much as to try to find out how to work with it.
So for me, a future suggestion for the next group would be plan earlier. This is kind of on a personal level, I think, because just jumping into it and thinking I can do this wasn't exactly the best approach. So I would say planning earlier and just better communication through email, and I think that's more so, I think me and Chris had many emails throughout, but just kind of within the group in general, I think it'd be easier to keep up to date on what everything's going on.
I said research the application prior to implementation. You know, you can, even if you don't have access to the SharePoint site yet, you know, or it's not set up yet, there's no reason why you can't, you know, read a book about it or see what's online about it.
And then I did search SharePoint to see if there are more effective options and alternatives. Well, yeah, research in SharePoint before you go on coding a hardcore JavaScript survey.
Sorry. So for me, I would say the future suggestions would be that communication between the user and the developer. Because I mean, for me personal level, I feel like when you have more than one person working on one page, I think it's really important to communicate with the other person that's also working on the same page. Especially when you're working away from school, the virtual machine takes forever to load up, and it just sucks. And so I think it's really important to have the communication, so that way when you get home, when you open the file, you know what to expect, rather than be shocked by, oh, why does this page look different now? So I think that's a really important thing for the future suggestions wise.
Slow down to speed up. You make a change, check it, because if it breaks, you want to know which one did it, right? Yeah, again, we could have saved ourselves a lot of time and effort by, you know, when someone said, hey, let's do this, looking to see if it's already been done.
All right, so for me, I kind of touched on this in the last slide too, just kind of communicating with the whole group in general, but I think the main thing that I would do different is consider all options. This slideshow gave me a lot more trouble than it should have, and after doing the web part, deciding that wasn't a thing, doing JavaScript, realized online there's tons of custom options for SharePoint that looked pretty easy to use, but I kind of already done it at that point, so I just kept with what I had because I understood it at the time.
My biggest downfall was asking questions, whether it was not understanding something or why it works like that, but also asking my group, what more can I do? What do you guys need help with? That was my biggest downfall.
Well, and as I stated before with the whole survey thing, more effective options. Use your resources, and definitely research the software before integrating any applications into it.
For me, the knowledge calendar application, because I'm just picking this up from the SharePoint application itself. It was really limited from what I can do, but I feel like there's always more that I can learn from that to do. Because right now, what I was going through is very basic and simple, and I feel like there's more knowledge I can get from the calendar application from the SharePoint. So that's what I was saying earlier. There's the pros and cons when you implement. When you code your own, you can kind of like have your own design, whatever. But when you grab from SharePoint, you're really limited to that from having your own ideas and so forth. Cuts that down.
Use versioning. Make sure you're aware of the versioning and then your ability to back up, go back to the place before something went wrong. Save often.
That's true, wasn't it?
Don't underestimate to learn a new program. I know sometimes when you look at a program, it can be daunting because you're like, I've never even touched this, I don't know what to do. But once you get going, it's really not that difficult.
Yeah, jumping in on a new program probably wasn't the best idea. Definitely take your time and learn a little bit about it before just poking around in there and screwing something up possibly. And yeah, don't underestimate the time cost to learn. That's a lesson learned.
That kind of goes along with it's never too early to start researching. I mean, we knew maybe from the first or second meeting that we were going to be using SharePoint, so it's never too early to pick up a book.
For me,
You don't know if you don't do it. So, anyway, it's funny.
Anyone else?
Any other?
Did you build the slideshow from scratch, or did you use components from other JavaScript frameworks?
So originally what we did was we used code that we had done in class, but I found it wasn't working, so I actually redid the entire thing from scratch. And I actually changed how we learned it here a little bit, so kind of works the same way, it just goes to the code differently.
And then images from the current site.
Yeah, yes, I don't know about current, I think they just updated them this week, but yeah, that's where we got the images from.
Cool.
So I just say kudos to this team for working through a lot of networking issues and for doing server administration, setting up the SharePoint server. Excellent work on that. I was curious if your profiles and permissions, do they replicate from Active Directory into SharePoint?
I put them in a user group. They got to have access to remote desktop, and they have to, and they're put in as guests because that activates them in Active Directory. But then in SharePoint, they have group permissions as well.
Mm.
So although I put those in as guests 1, 2, and 3, I could have made another group in Active Directory, which may be a good idea for them to do, which would be faculty this, that, and add that to their group permissions. So the minute they go into SharePoint, they will go into those groups
That's a
at
good
that
idea.
point. So that is something that could happen. At that point, I had other assignments.
I think when we've initially talked to Alan, it was, this will be a lot on the front end.
2
and
weeks, you'll be out
yeah,
of there.
a few weeks, and then, it'll be you'll
can
be
go back on the
free.
other team,
Yeah, you can go
networking
back on the other
team.
team
And then it
and,
was, they need the whole environment in the next week and a half to 2 weeks so that they can start working on it. And it was go time.
And it was
when you're critical
discussed-
path, you gotta step on it and get
It was
going.
wanted at the beginning of the semester that these, our two projects would be links back and forth.
Right.
But I don't know if that's even possible with the VPN, you know, the way our server setup is.
Links back and forth also, Chris.
To the site that they had developed.
Oh, sure, that could be, yeah.
Active Directory, I mean, when we log in as faculty, we'd automatically have access to that site and to.
Except
Yeah.
that we're isolated from the rest of the campus, right?
For now, but just because you're in a development.
Right, no, I know, but right now we're
Yeah.
an isolated thing on a server here on virtual machines.
And they're on Azure.
Well, they're.
They're not isolated, actually. They're on IT program like a whole other physical machine. They could have
Right.
connected out to Azure.
I think we could connect it to them, but I don't know how well you would connect back, but.
I mean, for that matter, we could have set them up another server here too and just ran it in the same environment. We could have set them up virtually as well.
Yeah.
But for what they had to do and what they had to accomplish, Azure was an excellent way to do that. But we
Plus
could
it
set
gave
them
you-
right in the same
Yeah,
cluster.
but it could have worked.
Yeah. So, good job, guys.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you.
And well, got to come in for a little bit.